Rosemarie Hollandsworth lives in Maine, and we've connected through these interviews with other people and my Miracles Never Cease blogs. And as we connected through that internet possibility, I got to know her and know some of her writing and some of her experience. And I was intrigued by what happened to her when she had a leg problem and a healing fall. Rosemarie, tell us about how you got into that problem and what happened to your leg and how it all started.
Okay. Well, I had been living in Florida, and in 1995, I decided to move home to the Boston area where I had grown up. And I had been a school teacher in Florida, and there were no openings that I knew of in the Boston area. So I took a job as a private school teacher slash nanny. I was actually hired to teach two little Finnish children how to speak English better. They were already speaking English. Their parents were very, very wealthy and had several mansions across the world. So when they hired me for their townhouse in the Back Bay on Fairfield Street, actually, right across from the Prudential Tower. And it was a very exciting thing to get hired for. They flew me up, interviewed me. So I was given charge of these two adorable set of twins. And no sooner did I start the job, and of course, the townhouses had 3 flights of stairs. And in the first week or two, I was up and down the stairs, taking care of the children. I had a little nursery school in their house going, and I also took them to nursery school. So I was doing a lot of walking. And lo and behold, one of my legs just gave out pain like I couldn't believe. And I was dragging it. And because I loved my job and I wanted to keep it, I tried to hide it for a couple of days there. If I was walking the stairs and the lady would come around the corner, the owner, the mother, I should say, I would stop on the stairs like a statue, and then she'd leave the room and I'd continue down. So I was panicky because I knew I couldn't do that for very long.
And your leg was really hurting.
Oh, it was bad.
And that's what brought you to a Roman Catholic church, right?
Yes.
Special service.
Yes.
And tell me about that. What you went forward? How did that occur?
My girlfriend, who had converted to Catholicism, led me to the church. And we were going to church in Stoughton, Massachusetts. And she had a friend who was a healer at the St. Anthony's Shrine in downtown Boston on Arch Street. Mm-hmm. She said, I'm going to take you, she's my very best friend from years and years. And she said, I'm going to take you to this healing service. I said, please do. I said, because I can't continue to do this. I'm going to have to give my job up, And so we went to church, and she helped me. She took me by the elbow and kind of dragged my leg, and I was, in much pain, got into the pew. And then we were called up they were lay people, which is something the church started in the 1990s. So these were lay people. And I was called up to the altar, and a bunch of people laid hands on me. And the principal healer put his hand on my head. And I went backwards, like typically what you see. I did. I actually kind of went out for a minute, and I went backwards. And then they got me up, and my girlfriend, meanwhile, had gone back to the pew, back to the seat. And they said, now go in peace. And I walked back to my pew.
Now you were laying on the floor.
Yeah, I was pretty much, they caught me. Like
they caught you, but you were ready. You were like feigning backwards.
I was feigning backwards.
Uh-huh.
And I know we see this a lot. We think, oh yeah, It happened. It really happened. Of course, I expected it to happen. I think that was the whole thing. Is I had had a couple of healings in Florida prior to that, and which were totally different. Wasn't in a church. I didn't go through a healing service. It was miraculous saving of me, and so I was expectant that it would happen. And I literally just walked back to the pew, and my pain was gone.
And it was all gone.
All gone. And never came back.
And your leg was healed.
Completely, never came back.
In that short period of time, that was the transaction in that Roman Catholic Church that made that difference. Yes. I think that's a very important thing for us to note, that so often there are people who have healing touches and they can make such a difference. Now, after that, you saw what some people call the dancing sun phenomena. That sort of grew out of that. Tell me about that experience of the dancing sun.
Well, after the healing, I was always very prayerful most of my life, but I would say that I was doing a lot more praying. I felt a lot closer to God. I felt like I was communicating better with him than I had ever had before. And so I had a unbelievable, a cat pass away. It was a cat. I mean, I have to say it was my cat, but it was my most beloved cat. And I had just put him down. And so I went right after he passed away. I went to a local park and to pray. And I was praying, and I was playing beautiful music. And I held up my cell phone and I said to God, God, I commend him to you. My cat, I commended it to God. And all of a sudden, the clouds part. It was snowing. It was March, and it was still snowing. There was a lot of snow. All of a sudden, the clouds parted, and the sun was there, and it was blue. And I stared at it, and my song was still playing, and it flew down towards me. And then I went like this, and I was with a friend who saw the whole thing, who also loved my cat. And then it zinged back up to the sky, and then it just exploded into all kinds of beautiful colors, rainbow colors, and there were little crosses popping up from the middle of this disc, and there were hearts circling it. And I didn't know what it was. I knew about Fatima. I was well aware of Fatima, but I didn't relate it to what I was just seeing. And my friend said I was in a trance. I remember crying through the whole thing. The music kept playing. The music never stopped. And this phenomenon went on for about 4 to 5 minutes, where my friend said I was totally got nothing. And when it was over, I couldn't believe it.
Well, when you shared that with me earlier, it really rang a bell, because a friend of mine was at Medjugorje, where the aberrations of Mary occurred. And he's now an archbishop in the Roman Catholic Church. And he had a similar experience with about 150 people who saw something very similar, with the sun doing what seemed to be impossible, but they all saw it and they experienced it. And it was for him, like for you, it was a very powerful moment. And now, sort of out of this, you've developed your own kind of is what I call it, intuitive knowing, or dreaming things at night that you foresee coming. Would that be accurate for me to say that?
I'm not sure if it particularly, because I've had that since childhood. So what did happen after that, though, first of all, I had to find out what it was. So I went home and I Googled it. And that's when Medjugorje, and the fact that this has happened to hundreds and thousands of people throughout the ages, all the way back to the 2nd century, this beautiful phenomena of the dancing of the sun, and very specifically in Medjugorje since the 80s, 1982.
Yes.
So it wasn't particular to me, and I just learned so much about it, and it opened up a window. And how I like to put it is, I feel like the veil got very thin between me and God. It brought me very close to God, a closer connection, a deeper relationship. And what did start happening, Reverend Wise, is I started having supernatural occurrences, which is a whole story in itself.
Well, Rosemary, part of what we do with these Zoom, YouTube broadcasts is try to help people understand that just as you said it so well, there is a veil that parts, and the power and the experience of the Holy Spirit changes people. And I try to help people see and know that's a fact. You have been so helpful today. Your stories are so touching, and I want to thank you for taking the time to share that with us. It's been very significant, very inspiring. Bless you. Thank you, and we'll see you another day. Okay.
Thank you, Reverend Wise, for this opportunity to share my faith and to let people know that God is real.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.